The typical way to summarize Breaking Bad's prequel series, Better Call Saul, is roughly as follows. Jimmy McGill wants to be a legitimate lawyer and break free from his troubled past, but those in power above him, especially his older brother, Chuck, refuse to take him seriously, and he internalizes this disdain. Rejecting the legal establishment and becoming the criminal lawyer we know and love from Breaking Bad, Saul Goodman. Kim is his romantic partner and accomplice who sees the good in him and tries to steer him away from seedy villainy and toward the path of righteousness, the path of the straight and narrow. But eventually, because of his charm, he corrupts her, sending her down the path that leads to her ultimate tragic fate. A fate we don't yet know, but is the reason she is not in Breaking Bad. This description isn't entirely wrong exactly, just like it's not entirely wrong to describe Breaking Bad as the story of an overqualified high school chemistry teacher who gradually hardens into a meth kingpin, but in both cases, these simple summaries leave a lot of information out just for the purpose of simplifying the stories. While Walter White may not have been a hardened criminal at the start of Breaking Bad, the qualities that would eventually curdle into his turn to the dark side, those being his resentment, his arrogance, his sense of superiority, his disdain toward other people in general, are all there at the beginning of the show. Similarly, in Better Call Saul, there are lines Jimmy has trepidations about crossing, even as he becomes Saul Goodman. It's hard to feel too bad for Saul Goodman in Breaking Bad, even though he's a funny character, and even though he's clearly in way over his head. And it's hard to feel bad for him because of his sexism and because of his lack of scruples. In Better Call Saul, though, he's an extremely sympathetic character, even when he gradually turns to the dark side and adopts the identity of Saul Goodman. He's not entirely immoral. He wants to help lowlifes and scoundrels because of his empathy toward their plight, and the refusal of the world at large to see people like him and the people he helps as anything other than pests, parasites, troublemakers. He doesn't quite admit this more altruistic side to himself or to others, but it's clear that it's there. Think about how he reacts to the young woman with a shoplifting record in Season 5. He advocates for her, even though no one else will. His persona isn't just a means of sticking it to the legal establishment, though yes, it is that too. It's about Jimmy genuinely trying to help people, albeit in his self-interested, capitalistic way. When he does find himself involved with serious, murderous criminals, it's not by choice, and he hates every minute of it. Not least because of the threat it poses to his own life. He's the kind of seedy lawyer who will offer a 50% off discount for his services for crimes that are just petty and insignificant, even though his partner Kim finds the idea gauche, but he is not the kind of person who has any serious desire to be involved with murder and gang violence and cartel activity. That initial description of Better Call Saul I mentioned at the start of the video also gets Kim wrong, albeit in the exact opposite way. I'd like to highlight a wonderful piece I read relatively recently in Vulture called Better Call Saul showed us who Kim has been all along. This piece ran almost immediately after the 5th season finale of the show. In it, the author, Jen Chaney, argues that Kim is more than the earnest, albeit corruptible person she initially appears to be. True, she is more of an idealist than Jimmy, but that comes with the dark side too. It means that she's more willing to chase her idealistic ends, even if that means breaking the law. In contrast to Jimmy, Chaney writes, "We like Kim Wexler because she doesn't seem like the kind of person who would break bad. She doesn't seem like an anti-hero so much as a flawed but heroic supporting player. We expect Kim to be the moral rock of the show. We expect her to be its ethical compass, even as Jimmy is the traditional anti-hero who shows signs of promise and redemption, but ultimately lets down the expectations of those who trust him and believe in him. This is a classic character dynamic in anti-hero dramas. There's the person, usually, though not always, a guy who tries to be moral, but who's let down by his own demons, which overtake him, and so he lets down the people around him in turn. And then there's everyone else around him who may not be completely morally pure, but they're still better morally than the anti-hero. You feel for them, and you have sympathy for them when they're constantly disappointed by the anti-hero's constant inability to live up to the ideals he professes. Think Tony Soprano, or perhaps, for an even better example, Don Draper from Mad Men. But that's not really what Better Call Saul is doing. At the end of Season 5, Kim conceives of a scheme to destroy Howard Hamlin's career, and Jimmy is the one who's trying to talk her out of it. When Kim gives a speech to Howard late in Season 5 about how she is not deviating from the path of lawfulness and order because of Jimmy's influence, but because this is what she wants, she might as well be speaking to the audience who, like Howard, views her as a basically good person corrupted by Jimmy and his shenanigans, and not someone in full command of her actions. Chaney writes, "The series itself is a con artist that has conned us into thinking that Kim is someone she isn't. We're not just viewers or fans, we're Better Call Saul's marks." Chaney implies, rightly, I believe, that this is not a change in Kim's character. Her experiences with Jimmy have not transformed her into a different person. Instead, they've only brought to the surface the parts of herself that she's forced herself in the past to suppress. She did not have a comfortable childhood. Unlike silver spoon suits like Howard Hamlin, this life of relative comfort was for her no way guaranteed. She initially responds to the adverse circumstances working against her by just working harder than everyone else. And she plays the part of the scrappy, pure-hearted striver chasing the American dream. She plays that part so well and so efficiently that we're tempted to mistake it for who she really is. But as Chaney writes, Kim is a grown adult who is playing a form of dress-up in becoming a proper, well-paid, rule-following attorney. We're tempted to see her occasional immoral excursions with Jimmy as a way for her to relieve the stresses of her life as a law-following attorney, but that's not really the case. She's not putting up a mask when she's doing those cons with Jimmy. She's removing a mask. The woman with the perfect composure and the perfect ponytail is the mask. That person is the facade. When, in Season 5, she becomes increasingly resentful at the idea of helping rich people get even richer, the mask slowly drops. Her brashness, her resentment, her indifference toward authority, all once masked by her composure, now come into the light. What is not a mask is her steadfast, earnest commitment to what she believes is the right path for her to take. Her work ethic is sincere, and it's very impressive, but that can be put to a lot of different ends, not just rule-abiding ones. She makes a dangerous criminal for the same reason that she makes a powerful attorney. And for the same reason that Jimmy, despite his smooth talking, is only mildly successful at both the law and crime. Kim has that killer instinct, that willingness to tear apart those in front of her in order to advance the causes she believes are right. Jimmy does not have that instinct. While Kim occasionally raises objections to Jimmy's schemes, she increasingly finds his schemes less morally objectionable than the system she herself has dedicated herself to. And when she decides a plan is moral and just, no amount of objections will make her abandon that plan. Not even the objections of the supposedly more immoral lawyer, Jimmy McGill. So thank you all for watching. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to like and comment and subscribe. Donate to my Patreon if you can and you want to see more videos like this. Honestly, I have no idea how this video will do. I don't think it will do very well. It's very different from what I normally do. But I was really interested in this topic and I wanted to make a video about it. So there you go. If you liked what you saw today, make sure to tune in for my next analysis. It will be coming soon. I promise you that. Thank y'all again. Adios, comrades.